This is Truth Bronco with Bill Ward, and this is bow hunting in grizzly country. Behind me you see my camp. Show it to you a little better. And right now what we're going to do is do a little reconnaissance. Bow season's already open, but I heard one squirrel earlier today. Yesterday I heard one crow, and there are no animals moving about. Oh, I saw a couple deer tracks. But there are no animals moving around because the temperatures are right around 90 degrees, and yesterday they were getting up close to 100 degrees. The animals just aren't moving. What would it be like if you were a squirrel or a rodent with a lot of fur, or an elk? You wouldn't be doing much but hiding out from the heat. So I'm not even going to take my bow with me, but I want to do a little reconnaissance. I want to do a little bit of walkabout to see what kinds of signs we can see of elk, and whether they're new or not. So let's go for a little walk and see what we're dealing with, and then after that I want to show you some of the preparation that you go through in hunting, bow hunting for elk in grizzly country. Now, this is an elk rub, and this is what elk do when they're in rut, or when before that, when they're rubbing the velvet off of their antlers. And it's real old. I don't know how many years old it is, but it's real old. All right, let's take a look at one that is newer. This rub here, done by a bull elk. If you'll notice it, see how he has shredded the bark on this as he rakes his horns back and forth, up and down on it. If you'll notice this, as I touch this sap, I don't know if you can see that very well or not, probably not, but some of it is still runny. That's a new, relatively new elk rub this season. Okay, so let's see how many more and how much more sign we can find of elk here in this area. Now here's another rub, and this one is not this season, probably 2 or 3 years old. And this is about chest high for me, as that other one was. So these are a couple of pretty good sized bull elk that are doing these rubs right here. Here's another older rub. This is a little smaller bull. And here's another elk rub, an older one. And there's another one. We're walking through an area here where there has been a lot of elk traffic. You're seeing all these different rubs that are here. And they're all older rubs. There's another one. Wow, pretty big hole there. It's an older one. Looks like a badger hole. See what else we can see here in this area. It's an older rub. Real old for that one. So as what we're seeing here is a lot of elk sign, but it's old. Except for that one. There's another rub. We're in an area where we're just into Forest Service, and there are a lot of big ranches that are down in the valley. And what happens is these elk get pressure here in the Forest Service, and they go down to these big ranches where they really don't get much pressure. And there's good food there because it's down more into the valley. They're huge ranches. Some of them will sell tickets, essentially, to people to hunt there when hunting season is on, like now. Some of them won't. So there's a possibility and the woods right here, right now, are really quite dead in this area. But you can see that they have been frequented by elk a lot in the past. And I have seen elk here. But what they'll do is they'll go down into those big ranches, and then they can be pushed back into the Forest Service, and they will often come back here at night when it gets cooler. I mean, they're down there where there's water, and there's a river down there. The grass is good, tall. They really have some good stuff down there, and some pressure up here. Well, you know, with people with off-highway vehicles and things like that, there can be a lot of pressure in different areas for the Forest Service. So the animals are drawn down into those big ranches. And but as they sell permits for people to hunt there, and like I say, some of them do, if there's enough pressure, then the animals come back here. I'm real close to this area right here where there are a lot of rubs. There a lot more than what we've seen. So when it gets to be cooler, and they're in the rut more, they're not really there yet. I think this will be a later season. I think they'll go into October. They have the last few seasons, and I think they will do that again. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the reasoning is for that, and they never used to. But yeah, they have been the last couple of years. So the rut might be a little bit late this year. Then they'll move around a lot more. And when it gets cooler, then they'll move around a lot more. And they might push back here into the Forest Service too. So where my tent is, I can hear them at night. If they're bugling at all, then I'll hear them. And I'm not going to really pay much attention to hunting until I do hear them, till I know that there's fresh sign around, because it's kind of like shoveling smoke. You know, you're really not getting much out of it at all. So anyway, we'll see. But this is not a highly concentrated grizzly bear area, but there are grizzly bears here. Last June, 2 years ago, last June, a grizzly bear destroyed my tent in the middle of the night. I never had any food in the tent or anything like that. Garbage was a long ways away. One of my previous videos, I tell that story, and you know, you can listen to it there. But that's 5 miles away from where I am right now. So there are grizzly bears around here, and that happened to be a bad grizzly bear dropped off from Yellowstone Park, or some type of a marauding grizzly bear eating people's food out of their tents that they shouldn't have there. At any rate, I want to talk to you a bit about how do you get prepared to hunt in grizzly country? And I may go to an area that's one of the most highly concentrated grizzly bear areas in the lower 48 states to hunt. There's good hunting there, and I haven't hunted there in the past because, as you know from my previous videos, I used to carry a .44 Magnum along with bear spray, and you need to watch that video, bear spray or gun. So what am I doing now? Well, I'll show you. And other things that you need to do to be prepared to hunt in Rocky Mountain grizzly bear country. Now this is interesting. I wanted to show you this. I stumbled across this on my way back to camp. It doesn't look like much from where you are with the camera, but this is fresh, and this is a scrape. They will, hit the ground with their hooves, pawing it, and rub it with their antlers, and urinate in the area. This is a scrape that an elk has done, and it's pretty fresh. So that's pretty nice to see that. So here are some of the things that you need to have. It's a personal thing. Just make sure that you have a pack that will carry dry clothes in it, warm clothes. Back in my 30s, I was on horseback back in hunting in an area that was about 9,000 feet elevation, 60 degrees during the daytime. At night, it dropped down to 20 degrees below zero here in Montana. So if you get wet from sweat, and then say you're hiking back there, or you don't have very warm sleeping bags and things like that, and your clothes that you might wear to make it warmer in your sleeping bag are wet, and it drops to 20 degrees below zero, you could die that night. So make sure that you have your pack filled with enough to survive for 2 or 3 days. Have an elk bugle with diaphragms that you just put in your mouth, and got to practice with it a bunch so you can actually mimic an elk and learn how to do it. And make sure you have a compass, because you can get confused as you are walking through the woods on animal trails, branching off this way and then branching off from that one that way and branching off that way. You can get turned around in the woods pretty easily, and it gets dark and you're stuck back there. You need a compass, because you can get turned around quite a bit. I was hunting with a buddy, and he was a dead reckoning expert. What that means is he knew which way was north, south, east, west. He just knew it. That's dead reckoning. He knew how to get back and where to go when you're in the backcountry and you don't have very many markings. Like this particular elk rub, or this fallen tree, or this bog, and that kind of thing that you really use for markers as you are walking around bushwhacking in the woods. And we went out one evening hunting over in the Lee Metcalf Wilderness area. We were on horseback there. Actually, we rode, in my 30s, we rode 60 miles in about 3 days on horseback back in there. Stupid. I mean, well, not stupid. I was working. He didn't have the time off. So we were essentially scouting while we were hunting. It's not a good thing to do. You need to know where you're going, and then you can just get there and you can hunt in the area where you want to be. Well, that's why we rode 60 miles on horseback in 3 days. So anyway, this one evening, he and I went back and walked back in a ways from where our camp was. And it got, to the point where it was dark enough where you couldn't hunt anymore. You could see, but you can't hunt. And so he started to walk the wrong way. I said, Mike, where are you going? I'm going back to camp. I said, no, you're not. Not that way. And he said, yes, I am. And I said, well, I'm going this way, and you better follow me. And you'll see some markings along the way that then you'll recognize that you're turned around and going the wrong way. I said, you're good at dead reckoning. I said, but not right now. And he said, fine, go ahead. So I started walking. We got about 50 yards, 100 yards, and he goes, oh, shoot. There's that tree. Oh, shoot. There's that bog. He said, I was turned around going the wrong way. You need a compass. So make sure you got a compass in your backpack too. Also, bear country, mountain lion country, bear spray. There's an advertisement for you, UDAP. And like what I would do, I'd bone out my elk. You need a knife to be able to do that. And this is my bow. This is a Matthews, and it's 64 pounds. Very fast, very nice. I like that bow. I have shot back in my 30s. Dan Moore special ordered a bow for me that was a PSE bow that was 91 pounds, and I actually shot it at 94 pounds for a half hour in his shop in Kalispell, Montana. He's dead now. He was a good guy, but then the next day I couldn't pull it back. And because of this neuropathy in my legs and the kinds of problems that it causes for the rest of my body too, because it's not just neuropathy in my legs, it was good today, and I walked a ways with you, showing you the different rubs and things like that. But I shot this bow a dozen, 15 times just fine. A couple days ago. Today, because of the neuropathy, I couldn't pull it back, and it's only 64 pounds. So if you can't pull a bow back, and I'm shooting fine for 30 yards, no problem. But that's pathetic. That's ridiculous. So if you can't pull your bow back, you can't shoot it. But that's only happened to me twice. Depends upon what the neuropathy does. All right, now you're in bear country, and usually I used a 44 Magnum. Now this is a 10 millimeter. This is Springfield. It's got bear loads in it, 200 grains, and they're flathead lead cast bullets. It has 15 rounds in the magazine. Some of the magazines that come with it hold 16 rounds, plus one in the chamber. I don't do that. I just carry the 15 in the magazine. And then if we're talking about some kind of country or some kind of problem that I think is really a potential danger for a bear or whatever, then I'll rack one into the chamber. Otherwise, I'll just keep the chamber open. But let me show you something. put the gun away in my holster, which is right there. You see it? And kind of like showing somebody a pimple on your butt. Kind of hard to tell where the camera's pointed. Now, this is a meat pack, and I am hard pressed to walk without any weight on me, let alone 50 or 100 pounds worth of boned out elk meat. So, but the neuropathy comes and goes, so it's never good enough for me to be able to put any kind of weight to speak of here for the last few years. But I'm prayerful and hopeful that the Lord will change all that. Now, I was shooting with my 10mm at 15 yards, so that's a good enough group to kill a grizzly bear. And like you know, I would never want to do that, and I would never do it at 15 yards. If I've got one charging me, which has never happened, I've seen lots of grizzly bears and avoided lots of them, and I like them because the way they change the entire feeling that you have in the backcountry. They are a force that changes your emotions when you're in the backcountry. It's makes it wilder. Pretty incredible just to know that they are around potentially. So if I'm going to shoot a grizzly bear, he's going to be pretty close to me. He's going to break through the bear spray. If all things are equal, and you really can't plan it that well, but if he breaks through the bear spray, then he's real close to me, a few feet away. From 7 yards, I put 5 in just under 2 seconds. I put 5 in the size of a dinner plate. That's a lot hitting you in the face if you're a bear. And they've got as good a penetrating power almost as a heavy loaded 44 Magnum. There's a guy, I don't remember his channel, but he did the best video that I've seen. He's from Alaska. His girlfriend was filming him, and he compared a 44 Magnum with a 305 grain bear load in it to a 10mm 200 grain bear load, and shooting it through gel. And no, he didn't. No, this is how he did it. He had well, watch the video if you can find it. Just he's some guy from Alaska with a video where he compared those two, and he got almost as much penetration with the 10mm as he did with the 44 Magnum heavy 305 grain bear load in it, which I was pretty impressed with that. So if you've got that much power coming at you in a grouping like that, right in the face of a bear, if the bear spray doesn't work, that's going to be something that is pretty big impediment for that bear in his thought to be upset enough with you to try and kill you. Could deter his emotions quite a bit. Okay, well, those are the things, just some of the things anyway, that you need to be prepared for. Remember, the most dangerous thing in the Rocky Mountains are not the bears or the cougars or the wolves. It's the weather. So be prepared for big changes in the weather. It can kill you in the Rocky Mountains. A great deal of fun, and prayerfully, Hopefully all of you will pray for me. And I'm not whining about this. It's just that, I don't have the athletic ability that I once had. And I'm, chagrined because that's been taken from me. So, but it varies a bit from day to day. Like today, I walked quite a ways with you, showing you different rubs and things like that. I haven't been able to do that for a long time. So this was a good day from that standpoint. And yet I came back here and tried to pull that little old 64-pound compound bow back, and I couldn't get it back. Couldn't pull it back. That's ridiculous. Although I have quite a bit before, but not today. Couldn't get it back. The atrophy that goes into your muscles from your nervous system being messed up so bad. So hopefully that will end, and I'll be able to have some fun. And even if I could just get in the midst of elk that are bugling and things like that, even if I couldn't pull my bow back, it's exciting beyond your wildest imagination. It's a lot of fun just to chase them around. It's a lot of fun. So it's 73. I should be able to do things that I could do when I was 59. And at 59, I was playing up around the rim in basketball, and I'm only 5'6". And I was beating guys that were in their 20s and good basketball players. Only a couple that were hanging out in that area that could beat me. That's not that far long ago. I was 59 years old, and I could do that then. And this neuropathy hit me, and now I should be maybe not doing that, but pretty close to it. So anyway, we'll see what the Lord does, and pray for me. And as I do for you and my videos, the angelic videos, I'm putting it into action. This is a rough place where you are here, and I would encourage you to subscribe and notify. Hit the notification bell so that you know when another video is coming out, and hit the thumbs up button. It becomes really, really important for you to pass this on, share it with everybody that you know, so that the information gets out there for those angelic videos. It's from the Lord, and just out my mouth. It doesn't come from me. The wisdom doesn't come from me. Didn't come from Solomon. It came from God to Solomon. It was a gift. And old Solomon, he didn't have the New Testament like we have today. So we got a leg up on Solomon. He wasn't dealing with the kinds of tools that the Lord has provided for us today. So anyway, thanks for listening. And if I get an elk or anything exciting, anything worth filming, then make sure that you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, because you'll want to hear about it. I'm sure. Otherwise, maybe this is the last video. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for listening. Love you all. Bye. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share, hit that notification bell and that thumbs up button, and I'll see you next time.